Good morning. I am Dr. Atanu Roy, Senior Resident at Department of Physiology, AIIMS, New Delhi. Today we will be discussing about the molecular structure of muscle and physiology of contraction, which is module number 3. Now the objectives of today's discussion will be introduction, types of muscle, understanding the muscle structure, sliding filament theory, and summary. Now let's understand what is a muscle. The term muscle is derived from the Latin word musculus, where mus meaning mouse. Belly of the muscle resembles the body of the mouse and their tendons resemble mouse's tail. That is why it is named a muscle. The muscle and skeletal system provides the basic framework for the body. The skeletal muscle lies in between the two bones and are always in a state of partial contraction. The main property of a muscle is its contractility, and the responsible factors are the contractile proteins. Their arrangement is unique, and in this module our main focus will be on skeletal muscles and its contraction. Now let's talk about the different types of muscles. 1. The skeletal muscle, most abundant and are attached to the skeleton. That is why they are called as the skeletal muscles. They are also known as striped, striated, somatic and voluntary muscles. They are innervated by somatic nervous system, and so they are under voluntary control. So we are able to move these muscles at our will. Now they are very quick to respond to stimuli and are capable of rapid contraction, and that's the reason they get fatigued very easily because of their rapidity. Each muscle fiber is cylindrical, multinucleated, consists of groups of myofibrils. Now, these myofibrils are in turn made up of myofilaments, that is of three main types: one actin, second myosin, third tropomyosin. Examples of skeletal muscle include all the muscles of the body wall. Now, let's talk about smooth muscles. They are known as involuntary, plain, unstriped or visceral muscle. They do not exhibit cross striations under the microscope, so they got the name smooth. They are supplied by autonomic nervous system and are therefore involuntary in nature. Remember, they are involuntary in nature, means they are not under our control. Now they are slow to respond to stimuli and can undergo long term sustained contractions. Now each muscle is an elongated spindle shaped cells which this nucleus is placed at the center. They also have actin and myosin filaments, but the arrangement of these filaments are different as compared to the skeletal muscles. Now the examples of smooth muscles include the muscles of the gut, blood vessels, etc. Now the third type of important muscle that is present in our body is the cardiac muscle. They are the main architect of the myocardium of heart. Structurally, they are intermediate between the skeletal and smooth muscles. They are striated like skeletal muscle and they are involuntary like the smooth muscle, and they have unicellular cells like the smooth muscles. Each muscle fiber has a single centrally placed nucleus. Now the fibers branch and anastomoses with each other, forming a syncytium. Now surrounding cells are joined to intercalated discs which provide conductive pathways from one cell to another. In the other slides, you will realize there is a figure 1 which will be helpful in differentiating between the various muscles. Now, let us understand the muscle structure. The muscle bundle consists of large number of muscle fibers, and each muscle fiber is equivalent to a cell. Now, each fiber is made up of myofibrils, which in turn consists of densely packed contractile components which are arranged in a regular fashion. It gives a striped appearance under the light microscope. Now, each myofibril consists of a thick filament called as the myosin and a thin filament called as the actin. Now, it is the interaction between these two filaments which bring about the contraction of the muscle in a very coordinated manner. When seen under the microscope, the light microscope shows there are darkly stained areas called as the A band and lightly stained areas called as the I band. The main composition of A band is mainly the myosin and I band the actin. The myofibril consists of repeated patterns of lines and bands, and between two Z lines the portion of the myofibril is called as the sarcomere, and remember it is the contractile unit of the muscle, the sarcomere. The I band lies immediately adjacent to the Z line. The A band lies in the center of the sarcomere and H band is situated in the middle of A band. Now, let us talk about myosin. It consists of thick filament and each thick filament has 200 or more myosin molecules. Now, there are various types of myosin proteins, but in skeletal muscle, myosin type 2 is present. It has a light chain and a heavy chain. The heavy chain has a tail which is the double helical structure, and they have an arm and a head. The light chain is present around the head of heavy chain. Myosin also has ATPase activity which makes it crucial for muscle contraction. Actin is constituting the thin filament. The actin protein is made up of two types of monomers, one F-actin that is the fibrillar and G-actin that is the globular. The actin filament is double helical structure. The ADP molecules are present at regular intervals in this filament which also participate in the contraction process. Now, let us talk about the tropomyosin. It is the constituent of the thin filament, and structurally it is also a double helical structure wrapping around the actin filament. The tropomyosin lies in the grooves between the two F-actin coils which forms the actin filament. Now, during contraction, they sink deep inside the grooves, thereby exposing the active sites. Now, what does troponin do and what is it made up of? Troponin is a globular protein associated with the thin filament. It is made up of three subunits. One, troponin I, which is having a very strong affinity with actin molecules and which consists of I band. Next, we have troponin T. It has a very strong affinity for tropomyosin. And troponin C, it has a strong affinity with calcium. Remember, C stands with calcium. Now, there are some additional structural proteins which are present in the muscle and playing an important role. First is the actinin. It binds actin with the Z lines. Then we have titin. It binds the Z line to the M lines, and it is also the largest protein known in the human body. Now we have desmin. It binds Z line to the plasma membrane. Now, before we go further, we have to understand the concept of sarcotubular system. It is an endoplasmic reticulum which is modified to form the sarcoplasmic reticulum. It in turn forms a dense network around the myofibrils. which in turn helps to distinguish myofibrils from the myofilaments. Now, the cell membrane around the muscle fiber invagillates transversely deep inside, helping in spread of wave of contraction throughout the cell. Now, this is called as the T-tubules. At the AI junction, the sarcoplasmic reticulum become very close to the T-tubules, and these are the areas where tubules of the sarcoplasmic reticulum are enlarged, forming a cisternae, which is called a sac-like structure. Now, when two cisternae comes in close contraction, it forms a T-tubule, and it is a triad. Now, a concept of excitation contraction coupling. When an action potential is generated, it traverses along the sarcolemma, and as we have studied earlier that the sarcolemma invaginates deep inside the muscle fiber to form the T-tubules. So, when the action potential is generated, it dips deep down via the T-tubules, which in turn helps to spread the wave of excitation deeper and deeper inside the muscle fiber. Now, the sarcoplasmic reticulum come closer to the T-tubules at the AI junction, thereby forming a triad. When the action potential reaches the T-tubules, it opens the dihydroden pyridine receptor, which in short is called as DHPR. Now, remember, DHPR is voltage sensitive. Now, they also undergo a conformational change which leads to release of calcium ions from the ryanodine receptors, now which are located on the cisternae by the physical interaction. Now, the ryanodine receptors are calcium channels that help in release of calcium from the cisternae. Now, the DHPR and the ryanodine interaction releases calcium from the cisternae, thereby increasing the concentration of calcium inside the sarcoplasm of the muscle cell. Now, which in turn help to bring about the contraction of the muscle. Now, the relaxation of the muscle depends on the captive transport of sodium back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now, let us talk about the sliding filament theory. It proposes the mechanism of contraction. Now, it is proposed that the thin filaments slide over the thick filaments with the interaction between the actin, myosin, troponin and tropomyosin. Now, let us see in detail how it happened. For example, to begin with, let us suppose the muscle is in a resting state. Now, the myosin, as we have read before, it has two heads, one free and one another attached with the actin. The troponin I is bound to actin and troponin and tropomyosin, which in turn covers the site where the myosin head attaches with the actin. Now, myosin head has tightly bound ADP, which is the adenosine phosphate. This state is also called as the Cox state, which is released during cross bridge formation. Now, let us suppose that an action potential has arrived via the sarcolemma, and with the help of T-tubules, they have spread inside the cell. Now, this depolarizing current causes a conformational change in the DHPR and ryanodine complex, which in turn leads to the release of calcium in the cytoplasm. Now, this free calcium will now go and bind with the troponin C. Now, the binding causes weakening of the interaction between the actin and troponin I, which in turn results in exposing the sites for the actin binding on the myosin. This leads to the cross bridge formation, and upon the formation of cross bridge, the ADP is released, and that causes a conformational change in the myosin head. Now, the head bends at the neck and helps it slide past the actin filament comprising the power stroke. Now, immediately after the power stroke, ATP is quickly bind with the myosin's free site, leading to the detachment of the myosin from the actin. Now, the hydrolysis of ATP releases inorganic phosphate, which causes recocking of the myosin head, thereby completing the cycle. Now, the sarcomere contract by 10 nanometer during each contraction. Now, let us summarize. The muscle comprises thick and thin filaments which are arranged in a uniform fashion, and it is the reason why skeletal muscle has a striped appearance. It also has A band, I band, H zone and Z line. Now, the Z line forms the contractile unit of the sarcomere. Now, the spread of depolarization and muscle contraction can be explained by excitation, contraction, coupling. Now, the myosin head is in a cocked state with ADP, and after the power stroke, the ATP binds with free myosin binding site, and the phosphate that is being released during hydrolysis is used for recocking the myosin head.